Welcome to this new how-to. In this how-to, we're gonna look at how you can start the engines of the Junker Judith Uniform 5. Yes, I know, you can press the Ctrl and E key and then it will start automatically, but of course we want to do it manually. And I must say I struggled a little bit with that. Maybe it's due to the fact that the checklist is completely in English, while the, I would say, other descriptions on the instruments are completely set to German. So that could be me. Maybe it's not me. I'm not sure. So we're gonna check everything, right? We just set the throttles to idle. We set the park and brake already. The pilot heat, if it's in this position, it's off. If it's set to this position, it's on. And the cool thing is that you can see it here, right? If this is, I would say, yellow, it means it's on. Because if we would now go back to this nice instrument and would go to this, then you can see it's set to Tower, right? So that's good. So the flight controls are okay. Few things. You need to set them to alle, which means both. If you set them to both, it's correct. If you set them to links, it means left. If you set it to rechts, it means right. Right? So everything is fine from that. The cool thing about the quality checks is that they're actually outside the aircraft, right? So here's the meter for the view. We've got a few oil meters or oil quality. One is here, one is on at the center of the aircraft, and there's also one at the right side where you can check the oil quantity. And of course we need to check the altimeter, which we can set using the letter B on the keyboard. Then we're coming to the difficult part where I struggled with. So the master switch, easy. Primer, also easy. This one, you need to set it to auf, which means open. If you don't do it, it won't start the engine. You will see that the, I would say, meter, I would say, it looks like it starts, but then it goes out. Then you've got the Womble pump, and this one, I would say it's a little bit strange. If you don't do anything with it, it will still work. You can open it by pressing this option and then pushing it down. But I did check with the Ctrl E key and it also does nothing with this thing. So I'm not sure if it's this really required. I'm still looking into this. Then we have the oil and fuel supply level for engine 3, right? Engine 3, right side, engine 2, center, engine 1, left side. So we're gonna set this to the correct position. Which is 2 knots down, right? Not completely full. Then we look at the ignition, and the ignition can be set to später, which means later or delayed, or through, which means earlier. By default, you can set it to this. Works pretty good. Then we've got the magneto cap, which is in this case for the engine number 3, it's green. For engine number 1, it's red, and for engine number 2, it's yellow. And you need to make sure that you're setting the magneto in the center. So not to M1, not to M2, but in the center, else it won't work. The mixture leveler has been also already set correct. You can see it has been set completely open. So that's good, which means rich, right? The more open it is, I would say the more fuel you will consume. So keep that in mind. Once that has been checked, we can simply, between brackets, simply start the engines by moving this button open. Keep an eye on the meter here and here, because you should see some changes there. Come on. It looks like I forgot one. I forgot to set the nebulizer to this position. So keep in mind that you need to set it like this. I forgot to open the nebulizer. You don't want to know how many times I restart the recording of this video, but it looks like everything is working now. So the same thing can be done for engine number 1. Right, after checking, of course, the ignition delay and the oil pressure, right? You can check it to see. You need to, yeah, you almost can't see it, but if we would go outside the aircraft, right, you can have a manual check for the oil pressure and say, okay, hey, it's okay, yes or no. Wondering, normally probably the co-pilot does that. So you can have a look here, right? You can see the engine is already hotting, or I would say warming up a bit. So once we've done that, we're completely done with engine 1. You can continue, or 3, sorry, you can continue with engine 1, which is the red one. We set the magneto. We make sure that the fuel lubricant supply is correct. And then we're gonna look at upstairs and then pull the button. And you will see that it also starts the engine, right? So can you keep an eye on it? If everything is stabilizing again, then we continue with engine number 2, and there it says where you need to close the wobble pump, but in our case we didn't open it, so there's no need to close it. Make sure that you're closing the caps or the covers. Would this be the trick? Let me try to remove the cover. My bad. Of course, we need to make sure that it gets the view, right? And you can see it still works, right? So I'm not sure what this thing does, but it really doesn't look like it has a function, at least not that I'm aware of. So once we've done that, right, you can make sure that these 2 buttons are set like this, like ZOO, which means closed. And I would say then you're ready for taxiing, right? So then we can, I would say, have fun taxiing and flying around with the aircraft. So as you could see, there are some tricks which you need to know when starting the engines. The buttons, I would say, in the right corner are the most important ones, because if you don't do a lot with that, then nothing will happen, and it will create some challenges because it won't start the engine. Here's where this video ends. Hope you liked it. If you liked it, then consider to use the like button. If you've got questions or comments, then feel free to post them in the comment box below. And if you want to stay up to date about new videos I'm posting, then consider subscribing to my channel. Thanks for watching and see you next time.